Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you're very welcome to this video all about planting alliums. Now, alliums really are the most versatile group of plants. They're in the onion family, but don't let that put you off. These are wonderful plants that bridge a gap between when the tulips end and when the summer flowering perennials begin. And today I have a variety of exciting alliums, from the very teeny tiny to the very large. So stick with me, we'll have a run through of what's out there in terms of form and shape and colour, and I will also plant them in the garden. If you're new to this channel, you should know that I garden in what roughly equates to as hardiness zone 9, but we don't use that system here in Ireland, so just take it as a rough guide for what might get through the winter and what might not. And today we also have my cat Catsby helping me out, because obviously that's what cats do. So let's have a look at what I've got here, because I have bulbs, really big bulbs, and I have really teeny tiny bulbs. So while I open some of these packets and just show you what I'm talking about, let me tell you a little bit about the supplier. And these bulbs come from Bulbi in the Netherlands. Now, Bulbi is a wonderful company I've dealt with on many occasions before, and they produce wonderful, glorious, very healthy bulbs. I have bought from them on several occasions because their bulbs are very healthy, their customer service is excellent, and in terms of competitiveness, their prices really can't be beaten. Look at that. It is just fantastic. So for fun, I decided to order a variety of alliums, because we usually stick to the same old ones here in Ireland anyway. It's always allium purple sensation in everybody's garden. Now, don't get me wrong, that is a really good and reliable allium that will come back year on year. And if you're lucky, it'll seed about. They're even a little bit promiscuous, and so by that what I mean is that they will cross with other alliums. They might even cross with chives, so you may have, I don't know, interesting offspring popping up in your garden. And a lot of alliums do that, so they really are a worthwhile plant to get in the ground at this time of year and to just allow to do their stuff in your garden. Wow. So we'll start off with this bulb here, and this, my goodness, this is Globe Master, and it is a giant among bulbs. So this will grow to 100 to 150 centimeters. Ooh, that's almost 5 foot. So you do need to give this big boy space. They have a kind of oniony smell, and you'll notice that one half of the bulb is very flat, and this is very typical for alliums. Katsky. Yeah. She always wants to help out. So these bulbs have been, they were received a couple of weeks ago, so I've kept them in a cool, dry place that's well ventilated, i.e. the shed, and they're still looking fantastic and ready to be put down. Come on now, we need to get you off the table so that I can get on with showing these bulbs. You gonna get down? Come on. Up's a daisy. There. Okay, so what I was saying. Yeah, so the Globe Master, it's a really big bulb, and I want to put it in a prominent place because this is quite an expensive one. I've only got 4 of these, and I certainly want to be able to see these when these come into bloom. Now, this is one that will flower in June. The next bulb I have here is this one here, and this one is called Red Mohican. Oh yeah, fantastic red allium. So this isn't completely round as most alliums are. It is kind of round that got lost somewhere along the way, so it has hair sprouting up, and it is also really, really tall, so the same height as the Globe Master, can you believe, even though the bulb size is relatively smaller. And I just love the notion of having this flowering in my garden really tall in July, because this is one that flowers in July. Lots of fun, and I have 30 of those. Next up we have Tobago, and I just have 5 of these little bulbs. Well, they're not little, I mean just a little bit smaller than the Mohican, but these are smaller in terms of height. So this one is 85 centimeters tall, that's 2'10", and it has a really fantastic presentation. It's really funky, and the spires and the florets that come out from the central point in a kind of haphazard way that is so loved by florists. This is, I suppose, similar in many ways to Christophii, which I have grown for several years and is certainly very hardy and does really well in my garden. And the wonderful thing about this one in particular, and many of the alliums, is that even after they finish flowering, the skeletons look fantastic in the garden. Some people even keep them and spray them gold for Christmas. And now the next allium I have 200 of, and this, woohoo, look at that, teeny tiny. Now I really can't pronounce the name of this one, but I have grown it for many years, and this is a fantastic little allium that flowers red in July and just makes such an interesting contrast in the border. You can pop it in anywhere between perennials because it's so small, and it will just like pop up and just add to the colour scheme. And that's the thing about alliums, they're a support cast, let's say, to the main event. The irises, your roses, your other important perennials like delphiniums, they're the main players, but the alliums do a fantastic job of being the support cast. And this guy here I cannot be without, because it does flower that little bit later in July, and that makes it really exciting to have something for nothing, it seems, almost in July. And then finally we have a teeny tiny Caerulea form, and this is a blue allium. It's the shortest of the ones I have here, and you can probably guess that by the size of the bulbs and possibly the smallest flower head. It is round and it is blue. So this one will grow 40 to 60 centimeters tall, that's 1'4". And if you've been watching my videos, then you will have noted in the last one how I planted over in Joshy's garden lovely Dutch irises, and these ones are the supporting cast for the Dutch irises. They will flower slightly shorter than the Dutch irises and just look gorgeous because the colour theme over there is pink and blue. And before we go on over to the garden and get planting these gorgeous alliums in different spots, I want to mention a discount code. So if you fancy getting your hands on some beautiful alliums, then you should check out the Bulbi websites. They ship to the UK, and there's a particular website for that, and they ship to the EU, and both are mentioned in the description below on the video. And today I can offer you a discount code of 10% off all of your bulb purchases with the code Douentza10, which is valid up until the 1st of December. Okay, so the first allium I'm going to plant is the tiny little blue one, and we're over here in Joshy's garden where you saw me last week just plant the Dutch irises. And as you will recall, I carried out a little trick to make sure that I don't plant these guys on top of the Dutch irises that are already in there. And what I did was mark with bamboo the areas that I have planted the Dutch irises. These are going to be planted quite shallowly. The rule of thumb is that bulbs should always be planted 3 times their height. So my goodness, that's a finger's height. I could even just stick my finger in the soil and pop this little baby in, so it can go anywhere really. But this is going to look fantastic, a kind of blue undersea to the pale pink Dutch irises in June. So let's get on with it. So these bamboos mark where I've put the irises, and you know what, I only have 100 of these. Perhaps I should have ordered more, but oops, there they are falling out. It's going to be easy peasy, because what I'm going to do is just take the bamboo and use the bamboo to make my hole to plant the alliums in. Alliums are best planted in autumn, either in full sun or partial shade, and they really are quite unfussy about soil. I have some in my garden planted in quite rough soil and they do well. The main thing is that it should be well drained, because they are bulbs and bulbs are prone to rot. Okay, so now I'm going to pepper the final few alliums around this section of Josh's garden. And welcome to day 2 of allium planting, and today I'm going to put the 5 into the ground. This is Tobago, the one with the kind of spiny sticky outedness that looks like Christophii, and these are very precious. I'm going to put them here right at the very front of this border. I do have some anthemus down at the bottom that I've cut back, but I think I can put the 5 bulbs in between the clumps of anthemus. And there is no surprise here as to which way we should plant these bulbs. Pointy side up, basal plate with the roots pointing down. And this one is going to go here. So we're going to plant them about 6 inches deep, which is the highest measurement on my hori-hori. That's 150 millimeters. So this is horticultural grit, and it will help with drainage. I'm just going to place it at the bottom of the hole, just like that. And it just means that the bulb isn't sitting in the wet, it's sitting on a bed of grit. I like to do this with the larger bulbs. And now we're just going to backfill soil that is here. And now moving on to my spherocephalon, which are these gorgeous, gorgeous bulbs here. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but never mind. It is a bulb that I grow regularly and have grown for several years. Beautiful red colour, and it flowers in July, which is just wonderful. So you get these little dots of red around the border in July. Now, for this area here, which is my Sarracenia beds, surrounded by a fluffy grass that usually stands a bit higher than this. It's been raining, and that's why everything is just kind of lying down a bit. But I really love this bed. I love the soft fluffiness of the grass against the hard stone. Super contrast, but it needs a little bit of oomph. And the tulips do it earlier on, but I also want something to brighten it up in July. Now, to tell the truth, I had bought the other allium bulbs, the red mohawk or mohair ones, to go in this border because they're bigger heads to them. But when I realized how tall they were going to grow, I knew it wouldn't do, because actually they grow as tall as I am, like 150 centimeters, about 5 foot something like. So that would just look ridiculous here. What I really want is something that will come up to the height of the top of the grasses and kind of just bob there with little red dots. And this is your man. So I'm going to try using the bamboos again. So you will recall I used the bamboos earlier on. I have a slightly bigger one and a slightly smaller one. And I think the slightly bigger one is what I need, because these bulbs are bigger than the little blue ones I planted earlier. And I'm not sure actually if the wide bamboo is going to be big enough, because you want the bamboo to make a hole that's a bit wider than the bulb so that you can place the bulb into the hole. So when you're putting the bulb down into the hole, so that would be with the hairy side down and this side up. And if you're ever unsure about which way is up, you can always plant any bulb on its side. It won't be wrong, it'll be fine. But I want to be placing these in the hole like this. So you kind of need to hold them with your finger and place them down, because if you put them into the hole and press on top where the growing shoot is, you may damage it. And that's not what we want at all. You know what, this ground is a bit harder than the other, so I think it might be just as easy to just dig the holes with the hori-hori. Always making sure that any stones you find are never at the base underneath the bulb, because that's going to inhibit the roots from growing. And finally, I'm going to plant the last two alliums, the Globe Master and the mohair one, the red mohair one, in the bed outside the glass house. But I have to do a little bit of cutting back first. Now that I've made a bit of space, the Globe Master and the red mohair are going to go in here, and I'm going to place them in clumps of 5 in the case of the red mohair, and a big clump of 4 in the middle for the Globe Master, because I love the look of alliums when they're kind of clustered together rather than kind of dotted about. I'm going to place these about 10 centimetres apart to take account of the big flower heads that are going to be on top. We don't want them bumping up against each other. I'm planting these bulbs, as always, to roughly 3 times their height. And I'm placing a bit of horticultural grit at the base of the hole, because these are nice big bulbs and I certainly don't want them to rot. And remember, if you're placing grit at the base of your hole, the height of the bulb still needs to be 3 times. So you need to take account of how much space the grit is going to take up. Now, as you see, I've marked the area around the bulbs with these small bamboos, and that's because I intend to plant in this border a little bit later on, and I certainly don't want to be digging up my Globe Master when I do that. So there we go, that's the job done, and all my alliums are planted in the ground. If you want to see how fabulous these look, then do check back in June and July. We will have the red mohair flowering in July and the Globe Master flowering in June, and you heard about the others all around the garden. So I look forward to seeing you in the garden tours in June and July. And if you want to get your hands on some beautiful, fantastic allium bulbs, or any other bulbs for that matter, then do check out the Bulbi website. They have a discount code that you can use there at the moment, Douentza 10, and if you use it, you'll get 10% off all of your purchases. Now, some of you who follow my channel regularly may be a teeny bit disappointed that I haven't invested any tulips for my pot displays this year, and I know that my video kind of revealing the tulips in flower in the pots at the front of the house is quite popular in April, but unfortunately, I haven't been able to purchase any this year because I plan on being away in April. So there's no point in having beautiful flowering tulips when I can't see them and I can't film them to show you. So hopefully next year. That doesn't stop you from getting your hands on some beautiful tulips from Bulbi either. So go on, do it. Do it for me who can't do it this year. Thank you as always for watching. And I guess that's all I have to say. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.